plays a big role, and I think it shows that the person dealing with
Sorry
those
to cut
types
you
of...
off, Mimi. I just did
Yeah.
an AO. I forgot to record. So I've started
Oh, okay.
recording. So start again. Just to give a quick summary, we're going to be having a podcast and a discussion, friendly and hopefully something that's going to be fully eye-opening to multiple people in the server. The purpose of these type of discussions aren't to be toxic, but it's to help bridge the gap between people's perspective and understanding. We like I personally understand as someone who has a family with multiple beliefs, that I can never always understand why someone believes what they believe. But what I can do is always bridge the gap of understanding. The purpose of this debate is to help us bridge the gap of understanding. Please make sure to be respectful to anyone who's on the panel. Just remember, everyone is speaking from their perspective, and everyone who's invited to the panel, please also be respectful to the members and all the people on the panel as well. I want to start doing more events like this because I believe it's going to be a nice way for people to share their opinions, share their experiences, share facts and figures that they believe in. And I think if it's done respectfully, we could help a bunch of people increase their knowledge in certain criterias, especially in fitness in general, not just this topic. This is just one of many topics that I plan to be doing, hopefully frequently. As you can see, it's become quite a meme that the stage text chat has become a lack of a better term, a shit posting ground. So Mimi, continue with what you were saying while I invite everyone else, and I do confirm that I was recording all of that. So, yeah.
Okay, sure. Do you want me to start from the top, or...
You can start from wherever, mate. Sorry about
Okay.
that. It's sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll just carry on from where I left off. So yeah, I think as I was saying, it's I don't think it's just one factor. I don't think it's one path that people go through that leads them to obesity. From what I've personally seen, I think it's kind of it's really related to mental health issues, right? I think people have sorry, I need to close this chat because it's distracting me so much.
No worries.
Um, but yeah, no. So as I was saying, there's a lot of variables that come into play, such as childhood experiences, trauma responses that can be developed into binge eating, not understanding how to cope with certain situations in a positive aspect, and falling back into those maladaptive behaviors can also be the lead to obesity. I don't think I think there's definitely a big difference, and it's not a very general example of what leads to obesity. Sometimes it is out of pure laziness and the lack of care for oneself. However, other times it's deeper than that. It's the bullying, it's the lack of self confidence, it's the lack of self love, the negative childhood experiences, and things alike. And at that point, I don't think we can blame the people who fall victim to obesity because it wasn't their fault. They didn't ask those things on themselves. It was brought upon them through, the things that they had to experience in their own lives.
Good. Well said. I wouldn't have been able to say it better myself. Um, I am missing one more person from the panel list. If anyone can remind me, please let me know. And if you are that person, please make sure to raise your hand. I will see it. Sorry that I've completely forgotten who it was. Yeah, but well said, Mimi. You raised really good points. So I'll just use this opportunity to transition to the people who are more of in the middle. And for everyone who's joining, sometimes people are just playing devil's advocate, so we can make this a very interesting, entertaining, also educational experience. So some people might not fully believe, on the stance of like agree or strongly agree. They might just be playing devil's advocate. But so just be respectful to their views in case someone says something ridiculous and you start using that against them throughout.
Can I take the next one?
Yeah, sure. For the middle. Hmm.
So yeah, my name is Darian. I've been in the server for about the same amount of time as Meme has been going on. And I'm sort of in the middle in this because I get both sides of the story because I've been in a place in my life where it's very dark times, and thinking about what I want to do with my life and very depressed and everything. And there's just some times where even I, who has been working out for almost 6 years now, decided to put on more fat on me than actually reduces fat. So I would basically stress eat, and people who think, the topic of it being that obesity has a choice, or anorexia or this sort of stuff, right? Comes in various ways, like just Meme, explain. People who are going the very darkest time of their life, they don't really know what to do, and they try to find ways to relieve that stress, whether it's, eating, excessively amount while watching movies, or, they do much more functional ways to relieve stress, like working out, or, going out into nature, doing things that promote positive energy into them. And so, I'm going to be very short on this because I don't have really much to say, but it's sort of like, I agree that people have became the way how they are, whether it's being overweight, because they might have been in the time of their life where they'd had nobody to talk to, and they found other ways to relieve stress by simply just eating their hearts to content. And although it's very unhealthy, but other people decide to choose that route and to say, hey, I don't want to work out. I just want everybody to do everything for me. Well, I do nothing, and then they sit around, they be lazy, and they start gaining more weight. But very brief, very short, but that's sort of my stance. So I'm kind of in the middle because like you can have a choice to, if you're in a very bad part of your life, you can have a choice to sort of talk to people about it instead of solving your problems by making your health worse. Or by working out to think things through. It's instead of food being your counsel, you can find other ways to be your counsel, whether it's an actual counselist or doing things that give closure to yourself, or to close doors that created wounds. So very brief, very short. So that's just sort of what I'm going to say for now.
Thank you very much, Astro. Appreciate that. That's a good perspective to give. Um, I'll move on to the next person who's also in the middle, and that would be. I'm not even going to try and say your name. I'm just going to call you Big B. You know who you are. Um, Take it over.
Yeah, so I'm somewhere in between. I understand fully that to like some extent, people somewhat choose to become obese because they are eating that food, and that is what is causing them to become obese in the end. But there's also, as Mimi said, so many other factors that you have to take into account. And even if you start counting calories or doing whatever to control your weight, you still cannot fully believe any of the food labels because they do not need to be completely accurate. So, and also like just how your system works, your GI system, how much of that food you actually end up digesting and absorbing, and so forth. So yeah, there's like a lot you have to take into account that is uh, to a lot of people not possible to wrap your head around.
That's a really good point. I like the fact that you talk about the nuances and how it can be very difficult, and how you have to see things from people's perspective or multiple perspectives, and I think that's a very good point to bring up. Um, just to move on to the next person, who is going to be one of our longest members, Max. Um, Feel free to introduce yourself and just give a summary to why you believe, or why your stance is more of in the middle. Max, if you're talking, unfortunately, you might be muted, or um, can everyone else not hear Max, or
Yeah, I can't hear him.
No, I'm not able to hear him.
um, maybe it's like Discord settings, or maybe you have to rejoin. Maybe you have to leave the stage and um, join again. While we're waiting for Max, we'll move on to the strongly agree. MVP of this stage, or podcast. I call it podcast, or I just call it discussion. Is Alex joining in last minute? Didn't really have a summary or briefing of what's going on, but raised some really good points. In fact, both Alex and Tokyo didn't really know that this was going to happen, and they are our last minute MVPs. So thanks to both of them. I'll start with Alex. Please feel free to introduce yourself and give us your insight to why you strongly agree that obesity is a choice.
All right. You're putting some pressure on me now. Okay, so hi guys. I hope this isn't awkward because it's the first time I'm gonna be talking to a lot of people like this. My name's Alex. I'm 26. I joined the server, I think a week ago, maybe two. And I am I'm in the strongly agree opinion because after hearing what everyone else has said, I decided to write some stuff here. So I still think it is a choice, but obesity, I'm not going to be talking about being overweight or underweight, like anorexia and stuff like that. I'm just going to try to focus on obesity. It is a choice, but it's not something that you think of becoming. It's a product of many things, usually mental problems, or mostly. So let's say that you become a parent and you lose time, you lose your time because you need to take care of the kid. Work. You work too much, you don't have time to, or you don't have time, or you become a workaholic, or just your life, like you're stressed, or you get bullied, or a bunch of problems. So in the end, it is a choice. It might not be like a conscious choice that you think to yourself and you do, okay, I'm just going to start eating more. No, but eating equals pleasure. It feels good. It distracts you from whatever problem is in your mind. Just like smoking, just like drugs. There's many other things as well. I just wanted to finish off with just a little comment about something that I don't know who said it, but they mentioned food labels or calories, like the labels on the products. And I just wanted you guys to check a video by Casey Neistat on YouTube. If you can, just search Casey Neistat and calorie. It's just a short video of him counting the calories that are in a product and actually going through the process of putting the items in the machine, and the machine will tell you how many calories they are. So my opinion is that it is a choice. It is always a choice, and you can also choose to change that. But for a lot of people, and including myself too, sometimes it's impossible, or we think that is impossible, and when we think that is impossible, it really is impossible. Sometimes we don't have friends, or we cannot afford people to give us a diet or be there or force us to go to the gym or even go to the gym, pay a gym membership. But in the end, it is always a choice. Do I condemn that choice? No, not at all. So thank you everyone for your time and thank you for listening.
That was actually really well put, Alex. I like the way that you finished it because you said that you believe that it's always a choice, but do you condemn that choice? And I think that's a very important thing where when people have different opinions or different opinions to yours, a lot of people need to start understanding that because someone might disagree with what you believe in doesn't necessarily mean they condemn it. So, for example, I have a lot of friends who smoke, right? Just to, play devil's advocate and come in your defense. They smoke, they're addicted to nicotine, but I hate the habit of smoking, but I don't hate them because they smoke. And I think that's where the blur, especially in the world today, has come when when people have different opinions. a lot of people tend to mix the disagreements to the actual act with them thinking that you disagree with that person as an individual, as a human being, which could not really be the case. It could just be that I agree it's a choice, and potentially it's just a choice that you disagree with, but you don't hate the person because they make those choices. And I think that's a very good point that you made. And last but not least, another MVP who decided to help us last minute. Actually, I forgot. Max, is your
Yo, can you guys
mic
hear me
working?
now?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you now. I'm sorry,
Oh yeah, it was
Tokyo.
the update.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Max, just make sure to introduce yourself and defend your stance, because I think you said you were more in the middle.
Yeah, so like I'm in the middle, except I do like mostly overall agree that yeah, it is overall like a choice. But I have seen cases where like for example, kids that maybe grow up with parents that are not very knowledgeable in nutrition, sometimes they like raise them in a certain way by giving them, not the most nutritious foods. And so they kind of like implement these ideas from very young, which when you try to break habits from when you were very young, it is very, very hard, because those things make you into the person you are. So when it comes to like the side of like addiction to food, when it does become an addiction, it is hard to control that. So I would say in that aspect, I do agree that for some people, it is not necessarily a choice, it is how they were raised. But overall, it is a choice because if we have the internet, you can like teach yourself how to track your calories or how to like eat healthy. So at the end of the day, you can still make that choice to live a healthier life.
That's a really good stance. I like the fact that you mentioned about people being resourceful and being resilient. Going on Google and researching into things you don't know, especially being in the information age. Knowledge is easily accessible, and it's a very good point to raise. And also, thanks for stepping in last minute as well. Really do appreciate it. Um, Next person, last but not least, would be Tokyo. Could you just quickly run down why you strongly agree that obesity is a choice, and also introduce yourself as well?
Okay, hello all. I'm Tokyo. Okay. So why I agree it's a choice, it's because I'm talking about just adults like over 18. It's because something you should work on it, and sometimes you need a medical test. Like I for a girl, for example, for like me, I needed hormone tests. It's just not about how much carbs you eat. It needs also like hormones levels in your blood. That's why I strongly believe it's the choice in your hand. You should work on it. You should like just change it and somehow diet, exercise, checking with some therapist. It's all the same. So that's it.
That's good. That's a really
It's
good
not like
point.
just eat chicken or eat noodles. Sometimes, yeah, for a girl, I'm talking. I'm not talking about guys. Like, well, we have to need some tests for hormones. I needed that. I dropped like 25 kg. And I couldn't drop them only by eating on like cows or anything. I needed tests for hormones. I needed some medicines. So that's it. So yeah, it's a choice. If you want to work on it, you need motivation. You need to check yourself. You need to be like, it's not only eating certain foods. It's like if you like chocolate, you can eat chocolate. It's like you know how much carbs you can eat per day. Like it's a lifestyle thing. It's not just for one day or 1 month. It's a lifestyle you should go on for your life. So that's my opinion.
That's good. That's good. I really appreciate the perspective that you bring from like the female point of view, and also how you go into the
Yeah.
fact that you're speaking specifically about
I'm
adults.
speaking from experience. Like
Yeah.
I dropped a lot of weight. It's not just about how much I eat. It's just about checking your body, knowing what is right for you. You knowing you're gonna go for this in your whole life, not just for 1 day or 1 month. You can eat what you want. You cannot just avoid things in your life and it's like be a punishment. You should love it. You should work on it. So that's my point.
That's good. That's good. That's a really good point. Really do appreciate it. So it seems like we have someone coming in last minute. The main man himself, Jamal. Jamal, you've been Ghosted, because you can speak. I'm just kidding. Um, Jamal, feel free to introduce yourself and just make sure to give your stance. I'm sorry for that joke. It probably went over everybody's heads.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, buddy, we can.
Can you hear me clearly? Cool. I'm a black man by the name of Jamal, a very rare name in the community. Um, I am 25 years old, and I strongly agree that obesity is a choice. The reason I say this is that I take into account a lot of things. Um, People can be dealt a hand in life. Um, you can come from a family, as someone mentioned earlier, where they're not very well educated in terms of what they feed their children, and you grow up and you feel you're a certain weight or in a certain body state, and it's very hard to come back from. You can go through trauma as a child or at a young age, and it causes you to go into comfort eating, and you just start at a different place from other people. You can be in a place where you aren't as well positioned as someone who had good metabolism as a child or had a good diet as a child, and then suddenly decided they wanted to go to gym and be in good shape, and you kind of feel like you're on the back foot and you're at a certain weight and it's difficult to come back from. Or even there's situations where people are injured or they pick up an injury and they gain weight and they feel demotivated to come back from that. So I put that into context and I understand those situations are always there. However, the brutal reality of things is as difficult a hand as you can be dealt, as difficult as things can be, and even though factors in your situation may not have been your fault originally, you get to a point where you still have the opportunity to make a choice to overcome that. And even though it may be difficult and it may look like a difficult thing, you may be a certain weight already, you still have the opportunity to change your lifestyle and change your diet. And it's difficult, it's not easy, but ultimately it does. There are most situations, it's very rare you find a situation where it's completely out of your hands to change it. And therefore, I would say ultimately that it is a choice.
AO? Yeah, if no one else needs to speak, can I add something? If no one else needs to speak, I just want to
We've
add
got
something.
one more person which I've
Okay.
missed. I'm really sorry. And I'm not cursing at anyone, but fuck comforts. I like the name. That's why I didn't change your name because it motivates me whenever I see that name. I'm like, should I go to the gym now? Fuck comfort. Just logged on my server. So, comfort. Feel free to introduce yourself and just give us an insight to your stance. If you are talking, unfortunately, we can't hear you. If it's similar
You,
to the issue that Max had, it probably is a
yeah, you
Discord
probably need to
update.
update your app
Yeah.
Wait, is that issue just on your phone or on your computer?
phone.
Okay, because I'm gonna switch to my phone
Okay, cool, cool.
in like a minute.
No worries. You
So
can
I don't wanna
switch. I
stop.
think Astro has something to say. Just ping me or DM me, or if you can't, if I forget, because there's quite a lot of things on my screen right now. So I might forget.
So, so one of my middle take points, and sometimes I guess devil's advocate as well. So I also feel like business plays a huge role in promoting the choice of being obese. Now, I'm also taking account of the other factors, especially the ones that Meme mentioned in the beginning of this podcast. But specifically, business as businesses start to make more money, specifically fast food industry, when we see advertisements of new foods coming out, all these new, very horrible foods that promote cardiovascular problems, high cholesterol, heart disease, the list goes on. When people look at this and they're in these states of their lives, these sort of promotions help promote uh, the choices that they make to lead to where they're at. And so this also comes into play when your parents, how you're risen, like one person mentioned about how parents that may not be nutritional in choice feed these kids things that are unnutrition. And this also can play a role of those who are in obese families. Like if their parents are obese, they just feed their kids whatever is out there, whether it's and most of the time when they're obese, sometimes they can then given these foods that are from solely fast food restaurants. They think something is really good, so they're like, okay, let me get this to my kid, and the kid likes it. So then it becomes more of a more of a comfort characteristic when it comes to, like, when you're a little kid, and if your parents gives you less nutritious food, it can be more of a comfort food characteristic that you can learn. And as you get older, that can then be hard to break. But I strongly think that business, specifically fast food industry, plays a major role in promoting the choices that people make, whether for them to not eat, actually, and for them to continually eat until they become overweight. And so, in a sense, you can be your own worst enemy when you promote that choice. So that's what I have to say.
Can I add something else, or is it for Comfort's time? No. If anyone, sure, then it's his time. I'll talk after him, if possible.
Can you hear me? One
Yeah,
second.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, okay. So hello, my name is for Comfort. I have been in this for a couple of months now, and I've actually been journaling about this question. So yeah, and my thoughts about it, I'm on the strongly agree side because the food industry has made the food very addicting. Like it's far away from the actual non-processed nature. And as we humans, we want the most high calorie foods just to survive. So we like fats, uh, carbs, and those to eat each other for energy. And we're every day we're surrounded by it. So most people are in cities, low budget, they eat shitty food and no other. And mental health also goes into this problem. A lot of people, like I heard speak about when they were little children, fathers, mothers, fed them horrible foods, low nutrition foods, and that made them go like the others. But there is a thing called self-improvement, which people don't see a lot.
Okay. Hey, I only have a few minutes to do this, so I'm gonna do it quick. My name's Chase. I've been in the server for well over a year now. I've gone in and out, and basically my stance is like I agree with how we like talked about like how sometimes like even if you're trying, it can be a choice, but pretty much the premise of my stance is that you don't choose who you are born as. You don't choose where you are born. You don't choose like what genes you have, what environment you're going to be in, what influences, and all of that like controls the choices you make, the thoughts you have. So even if you do want to like do something about it and not become obese, that like thought itself is not really a choice that you have. You don't really decide what you think, what thoughts you have. So I don't like I don't think it's a choice.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to piggyback on the things that were said before. Not Chase, but the two people before. So fuck comfort, and I think I don't know if it was AstroDarien or Mimi Gamer, one of those. Um, and for the people that were with me or were talking to me before the podcast, I just wanted to add two things on why it is a choice. So over a month ago or month and a half, I got hospitalized after because of my appendix. So that is I had an appendicitis, which is something that can happen to anyone. And now, like 3 or 4 days ago, I had a gastroenteritis. I don't know if that's correct, but I think it is, and I hope that you guys know what I'm talking about. So it's basically problems in your intestines. So before I was hospitalized, I had a stressful week where I went to work every day, had really big days, like seriously big days where I only had time to sleep. So I had my meals out of the house every time. And then I changed jobs, and that's where my problem started, just on the first day. That's how lucky I am. So in that week, I made a lot of bad decisions by going to fast food restaurants just because I had no time to do anything else. So it was a consequence of the lifestyle that I was having. And then when I changed jobs, that's where the problem started. And now, like a month and a half later, I made another choice to eat like one of those churros, you know. And if you know how a churro is made, you know it's made with a lot of oil. So I made another choice of eating that, and that upset my intestines again. So just to give you like a real life, how do I say, not opinion, but experience. So these past 2 months for me have been hell, and thanks to the choices that I made of eating, because I never had problems like this before. So I just wanted to add that little thing. Thank you guys.
No worries. Thanks for raising up that point. Does anybody have anything to say back to Alex?
Oh, me. Can I say something?
Yeah, sure, Max.
Can I go after Max as well?
Yep.
Mine's really quick. So, wanted to bring up also, like, it's also like the fact that the way that we like have progressed as humans, we have like so much access to abundance of things, right? We can get anything that we want at any moment with very like we don't need. Sometimes it's free and it's even cheap. So like we as humans, our ancestors, they grew up like at a time where they needed to like gather or make the most out of like what they had at that moment, which sometimes was indulging in food. But now we're living in a time where we have even like food that's engineered to be like highly addicting sometimes. So I can kind of like see both sides, how now we have an abundance while in the past we didn't have that. It was actually the opposite. So we're kind of like going away from nature, and in a way we have to adapt to more modern times. And that's about it.
Okay, that's a good point about having
Hey,
abundance of things. Meme.
yo, I'll go after Meme if
Yeah,
no one
sure.
else has to.
Okay, so what I wanted to input on Alex's comments is that you were stating an example that doesn't really relate to the things that I was mentioning, such as mental health concerns. You said that you chose to eat, those foods. However, you don't. It doesn't seem to be a reason from binge eating or having, a loss of insecurities with, your current weight or body image, etc. You don't. It doesn't sound like you used it as a trauma response. You just felt like you fancied a churro. So I don't think that kind of I don't think that relates to what I was personally stating. I think there were, as I said before, there were different reasons, there were different causes of obesity, and one situation, one factor would be laziness, but there are also those other mental health concerns that I stated.
Can I answer back?
Yeah, go ahead, go for it.
I wasn't trying to like how can I put this? Okay, let's ignore the part of the churro thing. So the main point was that like since I was having like a stressful week because I was finishing things and closing everything on one job, one company, and going like on a Thursday, like just finishing one day before and then the next day going to another company. So I had a very stressful week where I didn't have time to cook properly at home and take like food to work, for example. So that was like a consequence of my lifestyle. That was the main point that I was trying to like say. I'm not saying that you cannot like not have a different choice, but for me that time, let's imagine that instead of a week, I had 3 months of that. Don't you think that I would have gained weight by just be eating fast food because I didn't have time to cook anything else? I think I probably would.
Can I go in the
Well,
middle of you two? Can I go in the middle of you?
Could I just
Sure
quickly
thing.
state something
Go
there?
for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So, I understand that you had, and as I did state, that's a different type of situation, and so I would assume that you then agree with me because what I'm trying to argue is that it's not primarily just a choice. I think there are
Not at
certain
all.
events,
Not
different.
at all.
Yeah, I think there are different circumstances because for example, your situation, you had a different lifestyle, you had to adapt, and you didn't have enough time to cook for yourself. And I completely understand that. Of course, some people are going to fall into that habit, and you may. But the thing is, you did not become obese, and that's because you don't have that kind of that mental health. Those mental health problems that someone who is falling into obesity or is obese may have, and that's what I'm trying to say. You're not the 16-year-old who gets bullied at the high school, the secondary school, about the way their body looks, and you're not the person who's using eating high calorie foods as a way to cope and to work with the things that stress them out the most. It's not, you didn't use it as a coping mechanism. You used it as a way to to work with that kind of unfortunate lifestyle that you had for some time.
No, I completely agree with you. I completely agree. That's like that's a very
specific case. So a 16-year-old or 14 or 12-year-old that is obese, I am pretty sure it's not him that decides what he's eating every day. It's probably his parents that put just a bunch of trash in his like little lunchbox, and there you go. But yeah, you're totally right. That's a problem that comes. Those mental problems are problems that come after you get obese as a consequence of something that those kids didn't have a choice to begin with. So yeah, I actually agree with you.
Yeah, and just to finish off with that, sorry, Astro. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like some people are going to say it's only it's not a choice when you are underage. However, the thing is, it's not like mental health issues don't suddenly stop existing above 18. Those mental health concerns do translate over once in adulthood, and the more that those problems are left untreated, the more severe they get. It's the same thing with any other type of mental illness, such as a personality disorder, or other types of things, other types of examples. If you leave it untreated, those maladaptive behaviors will get you, whether or not you're a teenager or an adult. But yeah, sorry, Astro, you can go ahead.
No, it's okay, dude. This response may be sort of me, just sort of maybe somebody can base off of or maybe talk off of, sort of. My freshman year of college, I'm in my master's now, as I'm in astrophysics right now, so my time is very little, right? But going back to the beginning days when I was first working now, I started my freshman year of college at 120 pounds and nearly 6 feet tall. And was very, very thin. And campus food doesn't really have the greatest nutrition food, right? And with college being so stressful and everything like that, and then when you live on campus for your first year, those sort of habits of not having the opportunity to cook your own food in your dorm, those habits of deciding to choose, very, terrible foods sort of carries on even when you live off campus, but yet it's also a choice to do that still, right? And I think that, when I was working out, I had no choice but to, work out 7 days a week because I had to compensate for the amount of, crappy food I was eating. I was basically dirty bulking. And in a sense, I feel like, as I've been working out for about 6 years now, and I feel like, I've been sort of put on a contract. Now I broke that contract now, but, when you're burning an X amount of calories, when you're burning more calories than what you're intaking, and so that you can stay at the same weight you can, it's almost as if like you're contracting yourself to saying like, look, I can eat any type of food I want as much as I can as long as I meet this guideline. And it's sort of a psychological, battle in a sense, because you're eating these horrible foods, but yet you're burning those like, remaining calories off, so you don't have to worry about it. But over time, there can be health complications, right? Because going back from Alex's standpoint of his medical conditions he went through, I've been eating such crappy food for a long time, even off campus when I could have make my own food. But yet, in the very hard classes I'm taking, I decided to make the choice, even though I probably would have had time to make food. I made the choice to go out and eat excessively. Like, for example, right now I'm at, nearly 6 feet tall and at 225 from 230. I'm trying to cut down to 200. But, during the prime time of my undergraduate, there would be times where I would have the time to make food, but yet I would be wanting, I would be like, I need to study for this. And I would choose to, buy crappy food. And I would go to McDonald's and get like two large combos, right? And then, the next day I would burn it off in the workout, but it's still horrible food. And I've been doing that for so long that now, because of that, I have what is called as generalized reflux disease, which is where your ventral muscle at the bottom of your stomach doesn't close. And that's also promoted by very terrible foods. And so you have consistent acid reflux going up from your esophagus. And if you don't control it, which means it's a basically reminder that you have to change your diet, you can basically turn your esophagus into Barrett's esophagus, which promotes esophageal cancer. And so, it's sort of like, going back to my point of like how you can be your worst enemy if you decide to go down that route and make those choices, to go down those routes that you don't want to be in. So, but you have to also interplay that these choices that you make, can be from other things like your mental state. You're going through a rough time in life. You don't really have anybody to talk to, or you don't know how to express yourself, so you resort to things that are very dysfunctional, even though it's not your fault to do so. So that's sort of my little, that's sort of maybe I could create another talk off of this or what I said. So I stand back now.
Can I just add?
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
something.
Go ahead.
So if we take out of the equation having mental problems or a a, a, a rough period in your life that can come at any age, whether you're 15, 35,
exactly.
55,
I
60,
agree.
67, 70, whatever. Can we agree that obesity is a choice? Let's say that you're a normal person. You don't have any issues per se, any issues that will impact your life or your mental. Can we maybe put into the equation that obesity is a choice after a certain age? So, like, let's say that you're studying until you're 30. There's people who are like people who do masters and PhDs and stuff like that. So maybe I would throw a random number after like 35. Let's say that you're a 35 female or male and you don't have any issues. Can we say that obesity is a choice after a certain age?
Well,
Okay, hold
That
on.
is my comment.
okay,
Well,
go
the
ahead.
thing is, yeah, because the thing is, in that situation, you're just taking apart, you're just taking away variables, and I could do the same thing with you as well, and your examples. I don't think that's fair for either side because these variables do get affected, and at this point it would be mainly hypothetical. But if we are going to go through the hypothetical route, yes, if obesity is, if let's say a 30-year-old man just gets lazy, starts to lose his kind of disciplined, committed lifestyle and starts falling into fast food, etc. It's definitely just I would say it would be a choice in that situation. However, again, as I stated, these variables, taking apart variables, taking them away from the topic, I don't think it's fair. And another thing that I do want to make I do want to state is that I think the food system has definitely let us down as a society, striving to be better. It's not. I think the food system has completely. If you walk into a store, you have the vegetables aisle and the fruit aisle, and it's this very small part of the store typically, and then the rest of it is all these processed foods which have a bunch of sweeteners, such as high fructose corn syrup, which is a very unhealthy sweetener. It's also very common and addictive, and it links back to cancer. And that's the type of stuff that is it's a type of stuff that makes people addicted to sugar. That's a form of sugar that makes you addicted. It's not fructose from fruits because fruits have sugar. It's the HCFS that you find in candy, and things of that sort, chocolate as well. So yeah, I think another big cause of obesity is that is how badly the food system has kind of resolved into. But yeah.
I would agree with Meme because this is sort of my point at which I take the agree side. Although I'm in the middle, I lean more to agree because it's sort of like what I'm about to say is I don't know, I'm just going to say it anyway, but like it's sort of off topic, but it's leading to the top of what we're discussing because decision making is sort of very interesting in how it plays because even though you don't know that you're when you mention that when you mention obesity is a choice, I don't know, maybe I'm contradicting myself, but we'll see how it goes. When you mention that, Alex, when you mention obesity is a choice after some age,
Oh, Alex left, by the way.
Yeah. So that's what I mentioned. So, decision making can come in ways when you don't even think about it. Basically the actions you do or the forms of decisions that you do. And it comes to the point at which why why were we put on this planet? Right? Because our bodies are they're made from stars. We are part of the universe, and spiritually wise, we are we're souls, and that comes to the question of like what is our purpose on this planet, and like how whether you're obese, whether you're angry, whether you're built, why what was the choice of us becoming this route, right? And these variables that Meme, all these factors that Meme explained play a huge role in this. Whether you want to be, you want to achieve something great, you want to be really good about yourself, or these variables of like a point in your life, or you don't have enough time to do something, They're saying, everybody has their own, purpose of why they became this way, and decisions can be created in ways you don't think about, because it strings from solely, one of the things that it can string from the actions that you do. So when people say, is it a choice or not, sometimes it can be very broad because, nothing, I feel like in some cases, it can be a choice at all times. And, I don't know, it's really hard because in some cases it can be a choice at all times and sometimes it can't be a choice, but the environment that you're put in could lead to that choice, so, I stand back now. So we'll see how this goes, I guess.
So if you want to make it something easy on people who's overweight, what should we tell them? It's not your choice, it's their choice. It's just taking the first step, right?
Can you say that again, Tokyo?
I said being overweight, it's a choice because it always starts with one step. Once you start one step, you will go for another, right?
So like you're talking about like how, for example, say, I was
It's not
born in a
something so difficult. You can eat what you want. We're not talking about being just healthy. We're talking about being overweight, right?
yeah, the choice of being
Yeah.
obesity.
So being overweight is just taking some steps. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's need works of us. It's just taking one step. It's like trying to count your calories, going to gym. Day by day, you will reach your goal. Just taking it like a lifestyle. It's just not something so much difficult. It's something easy.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's
No,
why
I totally agree with you.
It's a choice.
Yeah, no, but I totally agree with you. Like, whether the choice you become obese, you also have the choice to become not obese. At the same time, you can stop that happening. And that's
Yeah,
what
exactly. It's something
and that's
easy when you take it step by step. That's what I wanted to say. Like if we have an overweight person now listening to this, you might say, "Oh my God, this is so difficult for me."
yeah. No, yeah, I totally
Like
agree on that.
talking about fast food, you can have fast food and be fit as well, right?
Overall, yes, you can. But like
Yeah,
the
we're
thing
not
is, what
talking
I'm
about being healthy. We're talking about overweight.
so what I'm
Can
so oh, I just had
Well,
some.
overweight is unhealthy. That's
Yeah, exactly.
sorry
But
for
I'm
not
talking about
understanding.
being overweight. I'm talking about we all sometimes eat the fast food, right?
Well, yes, the thing is, a balanced diet is a moderated diet. So everything in moderation is what a good diet is. It's the best diet out there. It's not the keto
Yeah,
diet.
some people don't have
It's not the
time to do their
vegetarian
food.
diet. It's having a balanced diet. And I think everyone can have fast food. It just means if you're eating in such a over, if you're eating over an exaggerated amount more than what you should be doing, that's when it's unhealthy. Fast food is fundamentally, yeah, like it has bad fats and such, but that doesn't mean that you're going to banish it
Exactly,
from
yeah.
your friend group. Sorry, your food group.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah. Oh yeah, so I
it's not
completely
a
agree with you
punishment.
there,
You can have
Tokyo.
from time to time a fast food. Like sometimes you don't have time to cook your own meals, right? Sometimes your parents just give you what you want just to eat. It's like just to get the knowledge of what you're eating, how much calories, how much fats, how much carbs inside it. That's it.
So
Well, yeah,
yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I do agree, but however, I think it's not as simple as people kind of realize it is because again, the food system has let us down, and so has the education system because people are kids at the start, like obesity and all these types of mental health issues that start to arise from childhood are not being worked on enough by the people that should be working on them. It's the mental health system, it's the education system, and the people in education, secondary school students and such, are not being informed of how to eat healthy, how to have healthy portions, how to look out for things that you shouldn't be eating as much as you should be comparing to other things. And I've had to learn all the things. Like I remember, and I'm saying this from personal experience. I started off, years back, as I started off as a jogger basically, and I had a horrible experience with dieting because I didn't know anything. I was very misinformed. I didn't understand what calories were. I didn't understand what protein was. I didn't know the meaning of it. And these types of things are it's quite common. People don't understand what they're having, what they're putting in their body for fuel. They don't understand that the candy that they're eating is terribly awful for them, and that's why we have to bring the self-awareness to the younger generations. As we get older, we have to inform people of the younger years of the types of foods that they're eating. It's essential to be educated and to understand the food groups out there.
Yeah, and that's the
Exactly.
thing,
So
and that's
having
the thing.
knowledge.
That's the thing too. Like going with me when he was mentioning about like how you mentioned in the previous podcast and the previous talk we had about how counting calories can in a case be your worst enemy. And that's something that I don't know. I feel like there's other ways to ensure that you're healthy. Like counting calories isn't always the way to ensure that
It's
you're
not the
healthy.
way, but it's the easiest way. We're talking about mental health, right?
No, I'm talking in
Now you
general.
can use
Talking
Google
in
or
general.
any application to get just your cars, things, and whatever. Like for example, you don't have time, you don't have this feeling to cook anything, you just want to lose weight. It's easy right now using internet and these applications, right?
Some people don't have time for that. Some people don't have,
You
even
don't have
like,
time to
okay, so
Google it
like,
or
let
even
me
use the
put
application.
it this way. Let me put it this way. So like, when I mean by not have time, people unfortunately are, lazy to do that too. Like some people, are lazy not to do the app and go through the effort of, logging all their calories that they put in, right? So, I feel like there might be other ways of doing it. Like for example, if you are hungry but you don't want to eat a lot, just get, I don't know, if you have to eat fast food, maybe go and just get, if you haven't had anything to eat today or had very little, just get one large combo at, I don't know, McDonald's. Even though it's crappy food, it's not, I guess, excessive amount of calories, I guess you would say. Like because people nowadays, when I mentioned to some people at the gym even that, hey, you can actually do it this way. Like if they are actually wanting to do professional bodybuilding in the future, or, they want to, they're really keen on getting that shredded body. I'm like, okay, look, why don't you download this app that you can have a calorie goal per day, and everything that you eat, you log your calories. That can be even in that way can be even excessive for psychologically, depending. That's why it goes down the point in which don't weigh yourself every week, because it can mess with your mind. Because like you don't account for, say, water weight, right? You don't account for all these type of things. But I feel like when it comes to I guess what I'm trying to get to is that when it comes to people becoming obese, yeah, I get what you're saying, Togi. Like, counting your calories can prevent, people getting to that point. But then, there's
I'm
people
saying
who,
just counting calories is the easiest way for people just to want to get more knowledge about how am I supposed to lose weight. Like you
I
don't know
disagree.
anything.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
uh,
Once you
I
know the carbs and everything you eat, you will find it easy by the time. But just eating like you don't know anything and just want to eat, this is not the way you're gonna lose weight.
No, the reason why I disagree is because it's been proven, and there's been multiple meta-analysis studies and such that have proven that calorie counting and such is not a very good way to lose weight, because it brings in, like, let's say we're talking about that that case of obese individual with mental health issues. If you tell him to start tracking calories, that's just going to add problems, because when you have a weak foundation and you try to build a structure from it, it's all going to come down. You need to first evaluate how that person is doing in terms of his mental state, and something as deeply wrecking as calorie tracking can be a bigger concern. It can make them obsessed, and especially this especially comes down to people of younger ages. For example, 15-year-old, all teenagers. Calorie tracking is more common in that kind of age group, and that is just going to, with minds as weak as teenagers being already, it's going to worsen their state, and it's going to make them obsessed. It's going to make them depressed, and all they can think about is the calories. And we all know this. We all know this. When we look at the cake slices, for example, people cannot tell me that people who have calorie tracked cannot tell me that they do not think about the macros and the calories of that cake, because I know damn well every single person who does calorie tracking instantly goes to think about the calories in that cake slice. And
Exactly.
I think it's not a very healthy way
And
to
this
view
is
life,
the
because you're
way you need
supposed
to
to,
know how
yeah,
much
but
salt
yeah,
inside the cake.
yeah, but the thing is, you're supposed to, like, life isn't about a few numbers here and there, which are already quite inaccurate. Actually, there's a I think if I remember correctly, there's like a 30% chart like estimation of where there's like a, I don't know about other countries, but in Britain we have these regulations which allow food companies to have a 30% leeway of how close the calories actually are to the product. So they
So
can
you're talking
go,
about
that's quite a
difficulties,
distance.
right? You're talking about
Sorry?
difficulties. You're talking about difficulties about how to control your weight or what you're eating.
It's controlling your weight doesn't require tracking.
And this
It's
is
as
the
easy.
way that people does not lose weight. The difficulties you're talking about.
Sorry, I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Like you are talking about the difficulties that any person can just face in their way to lose the weight.
Well, okay, so if you want to lose weight, it's as easy as this. Just swap high calorie dense foods for lower calorie dense foods, and also try and I mentioned this before in the other voice chat. You can use portion control. You can use we have a healthy eating guide in England, and it shows like how much veggies and meat and fat a plate should have. I think it's called the healthy eating plate or the healthy well plate, something like that. And you can look online, and it's as simple as going onto the image, looking at the fats, and looking how much you should have of each food group. Another thing is you can use your hand. The hand method it's a very easy method. A fist means. A fist is the amount of veggies you should have on a plate, and such. The list goes on. And yeah, that's as easy as that. Calorie
Can I
tracking
say
is a new
something,
thing.
please? Please talking about
Go
hand
ahead.
in measures. One hand measure of strawberries is same one hand measure of bananas or meat. This is a knowledge, right? Like you have to know how much protein by your hand, if you want to measure it to your hand, how much meat, how much fruits, how much vegetables, right? This is also knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking. It's all about knowledge. You eat one banana, you say, oh my God, will make me fat. Sometimes one banana, how much calories, do you know?
Well, let's say for a standard, like, I don't know, like 120 grams of banana is about,
Yeah,
I think,
it's same like a slice of
110 or
bread.
something.
Exactly, same like a slice of bread. Sometimes it depends on what bread we're talking about. This is what I'm
Yeah, but
talking about knowledge.
Okay.
It's easy. It's not about just mental health or anything. This is what I'm talking about, taking a step. One first step is getting knowledge more about what you're eating.
Okay, I think I understand what Tokyo is trying to say. So Tokyo is saying that for people who are saying that obesity is a choice, either in the middle or strongly agree, what she's saying is that the difficulties that you raised for people who are obese are the same difficulties that every human being faces. And she's saying that she's not talking about gaining weight. She's not talking about, you being fat, right? Because we need to establish that there's a huge difference between being fat and being obese, right? Because that would lead, and that's a great
Yeah.
segue to my first few questions, which we didn't get to, but I like things going organically, and that first question, and that's for everyone in the panel because it seems like a few people haven't spoken for a while, is eating a choice? I'll start off with Jamal, who is on the side of what was your side again, Jamal? So the question is, do you believe eating is a choice?
Sorry, eating?
Yeah, eating. Just eating in general. Is eating a choice? That's the first question. Simple question that everyone can answer.
Okay. Oh, wait, who's going first? Oh,
Yeah, Jamal. Yeah.
yeah.
I think you've disconnected, Jamal. We'll move on to Alex. Alex, do you believe that eating is a choice? Jamal, if we still can't hear you, just try and reconnect.
Do you have any, like, it's just Can you give any context, or is just that
No, it's just a
that's
simple
sufficient?
question. You walk up to a kid and you ask them, "Do you believe eating is a choice?" Anyone can answer this question, but give
I
your
don't think
answer.
it's a choice. I think it's a need.
You don't think eating is a choice. You think it's a need. Okay, just to make it stricter, it's a yes or no question. Is
It's
eating
a
a
yes or
choice?
no.
Yes or no? Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that,
I'll do
and I
it.
will tell you,
I'll
and I
do
will
it.
tell you why.
Okay,
It's
explain why.
because, for example, if I have, let's say, maybe this is in general for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not, but for me, that if I have like a healthier lifestyle where I have like busy days, not working, I mean doing exercise and just having fun, going to the beach, running, doing sports or whatever, I'll eat more and I'll feel like eating more. But then there's times where I really don't feel like eating and I don't want to eat and I'll go hours without eating, like 6, 7 hours without eating. But I don't know how to answer that. Is eating a choice? I don't know. You can choose not to eat, but then don't complain when you're on the ground fainting or
Okay, so
dying. I
if
don't
you
know.
had to pick, gun to your head, is eating a choice? Yes or no?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
like
eating is a choice. It's totally a choice. You make the choice to eat breakfast. A lot of people skip breakfast. You make the choice what you're gonna have for lunch, for dinner. Unless you have like an actual like mental health related sort of like addiction to food. I mean, even then, it's still a choice. But man, those people have it hard. Like people that are like 600 pounds in those shows, oof, like that's a whole nother problem probably.
Cool, that's a good point. Comfort. Simple question. Anyone can answer this. I could ask my 7-year-old nephew, is eating a choice? Yes or no?
Yes.
Was that comfort? If you're talking, mate, we still can't
Oh,
hear you. Um, okay, I'll move on to the next person who will be Big B. Is eating a choice? I think he might be
I'll
after. Oh, he's here. Okay,
yeah,
let's
no,
go.
I'm here. I'm here. Is eating a choice? No, you have to eat for survival.
So it's something you don't choose to do. Is that
It is something I choose to do. I can go on a diet where I do not eat at all and just have juices and such. So in that regard, no, I can choose what I eat,
okay?
but eating isn't like a
it's a
choice.
need.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a need.
Okay, good answer. Next person, Mimi. Is eating a choice?
No, eating is not a choice.
Okay, is that your answer? Is that it? Nice and concise.
I thought that's what you wanted us to
Oh
do.
no,
A
no, I
very
wanted I
simple.
wanted it to be yes or no, but I don't mind people expanding
Oh,
on their points.
okay, well, I did want to add on to what Max said, or well, sorry, go against what he said. So yeah, some people do, skip their breakfasts and such, and that's their choice. However, I do not think it's smart at all because, well, there's a reason that we have breakfast and lunch and dinner and snacks in between. That's how it's been. That's the method of eating for us. It's been proven that that's the most efficient way. That's the best way for us to divide our energy throughout the day in the best way possible. I don't think. So yeah, I don't think it's a choice at all because if you don't eat, you are going to die. So yeah.
Perfect. Next person would be. Oh, actually, Jamal. You probably missed this. Um, is eating a choice? Yes or no? And you can expand on why you think why.
Yes, eating is a choice. Even if you have to do it to survive, you're still actively choosing to do it. So yeah, eating is a choice.
Okay, that's a good point. That's kind of a bit of a counter to what a few people have previously said before you joined. A few people said that no, it isn't a choice because it's a need. But your counter to that is more of you have to choose to eat, because if you don't choose to eat, you still die, which eventually is a choice. But it's a really bad choice to choose not to eat or to choose to eat.
Yeah,
Cool. That makes
yeah.
sense. Next person would be Astro. Is eating a choice?
No, it's not. And you need to eat, to survive. Simple as that.
Okay.
Can,
Next.
can I
Mhm.
can I say something? Yeah, it's the same thing as saying, is breathing a choice? Like we
Mhm.
could very much so stop it. However, you would like at that point, it's not even a choice. Like it's so fundamental to human life that we need it. It's a necessity, and that's why again I don't think it's a choice at all.
Okay.
With
Good
regards
point.
to breathing, with regards to breathing, it becomes sort of automatic. Like you don't think about breathing. Or of eating, you actively go out and find the meal and eat it. It's a bit different in terms of breathing. You can't just stop. It's very hard to just stop breathing. It's very difficult. It's hard.
I think. Well, yes, I do agree. One is autonomous, and the other is you have to be quite manual in regards to that. However, I think my point still stands because like if we just like it's still like it's the same that they're both fundamental. They're both essential to existing, and that's why I bring up breathing. It may not be the best example to compare with eating. However, I'm sure there could be another better one, but I'm a bit tired, so sorry.
No, I actually like that because in a sense, some people are able to eat without being fully aware of at least the amounts they are eating. So that's actually, I think, a good one. Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, okay. Well,
Don't worry
thank you.
about being tired, Mimi. Everyone's doing great so far. I don't know how long this has lasted for. Let me check the timer. Once again, I do appreciate everyone who's joined and everyone sat all the way through. This is really great. I think this would be a great panelist in the future. So all of the panelists, just quickly tap yourselves on the back and I'll just give you a quick clap. Thank you very much for this. I know I'm not doing whatever you think I'm doing, Astro, you sick boy. And a good segue is Astro, is eating a choice? Or did you already answer this?
Yeah, I'd say that eating. We need to eat.
Okay.
It's, yeah.
Next person would be Tokyo. Is eating a choice? Tokyo, are you there? If you are talking, we might not be able to hear you. If it's because of the Discord update, if you can hear me, just let me know.
She may have fallen asleep.
Oh,
It's kind
okay.
of late to where she's at. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay, that makes sense. So just to quickly segue from that question, I want everyone to give me their definition of what they think choice is. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when it comes to conversations and discussion in general, there can be a lot of nuances and a lot of different perspective in how people view a word. So, for example, someone could be saying choice, and that person could mean the ability to choose and decide to do something whether you want to or not. That's simple. Whilst another person could perceive choice as the conditions that you have in front of you. So imagine you're playing a video game and you don't have your, I don't know, your R2 button working or your X and Y button working. Are you then able to make choices even though you don't have those buttons working? So is it truly a choice? Like, is it really a choice? Back to a really good point that someone raised at the start of this discussion, where they said, if you perceive life, and I hate to use this analogy, but it's a great analogy because it's a pop culture reference that everyone can relate to, with the Matrix. If you are within the Matrix and you are bounded by the rules that exist within the Matrix, and you can only decide on what's in front of you. So, for example, if you come from a lower class family and there's like 5 fast food restaurants all in front of you from where you live to school, and your parents have been making bad decisions, so you've already got that handicap in where you haven't got the education. You don't have the technology or the resources to actually invest into doing your own personal research, so you're limited in actually scaling your knowledge base. And also, you've lived a lifestyle to the point that you've become addicted, so now you've got another crippling ability to prevent you from making certain choices, and it just becomes very, very nuanced. And also, for the counter to that, that people would normally say is, it is still a choice. You're still choosing to go to those fast food restaurants. You're still choosing to put those food in your mouth. It's a really good conversation and it's a really good debate, and I do appreciate people's points. So, what I want to know is, what is your definition of choice? Starting with my main man, Alex. Alex, please let us know your definition of what you think choice means.
I wanted to, I wanted to let you finish, but I also wanted to like just say something
Sure,
for
go ahead.
the subject before, which was, try not to forget about it.
Is
What
eating a
was the
choice?
subject? Is eating a choice. Okay. I wanted to add the animalistic part of eating, which is ingrained in our DNA, and it equals a need. Like you are designed to eat. You are born, and there's things that you already are predisposed to do. Things of which that are, I mean, you can choose not to breed, but eating, question mark. Like you'll go search for food. You'll feel like searching for food or drinking water. So, I just wanted to add the little DNA and / animalistic part of choosing to eat or needing to eat. And this next question is, sorry?
Don't worry, mate. The next question is, what is your definition of choice?
Of choice. Okay, you mentioned The Matrix. And it's funny you said that because that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, me too, mate.
Um, what is a choice when you don't know more than what you know? In The Matrix, you have the Matrix itself, which is a world where you have choices, but but you don't know that outside of that world there's other things, because that's all you know. So if all you know is all you know, how can you, this is probably not making a lot of sense, but
Oh, don't worry, mate.
there's
That makes sense. Just to piggyback off what you said, just to better explain it, you're pretty much saying that the people who are stuck and born into the matrix, all they know is the matrix. They only know of the computer program that is the matrix. So when they see the sky, they think it's the sky, but they do not know that that is just a computer program that they're stuck inside. But people like
Mhm.
Morpheus, who live outside the matrix in Zion, they know the matrix is a computer program because they live in the real world. They see the
Yep.
robots, they see the cubicles, they see all these things that open up their eyes to know that those people within the matrix are confined by the rules of the matrix. And it doesn't matter if that person who is in the matrix realizes they're in the matrix, because I think there were a few in the movie, there were a few people who realized that they were in the matrix. I think it was like those ghost twins, and the it got really weird in like movie 2 or movie 3, but there were people who knew they were in the matrix and they were altering the code for their benefits to exist in the matrix and be well
All
off and
right.
stuff like that.
This is making people confused.
Yeah, this is getting really deeper.
All
We've
right.
jumped to a
All right.
different topic, but the
Can I carry on?
yeah, you
Okay,
can
no,
carry
go
on.
ahead. All right. So what is a choice? A choice is the ability to think of why or should I do something. Should I do something? Why should I do it? Can I do it? When can I do it? How hard can I do it? Should I not do it, or should I? That's the ability of, you know, thinking. That's vague, but It's the ability to distinguish A from B and the impact of that distinction. That's my answer.
Sorry, mate. I have to unmute myself twice. That's a really good analogy. Next person would be Jamal. What is your definition of choice?
My definition of choice is a good question. I would say anything that you actively make a decision to go ahead and do. So, at the end of the day, if something's left to your hands, it's not something that can be determined by someone else. It's left in your hands. And you have an A or at least an A or B, even sometimes just an A, and to not do it, which I'll count as a B. Anytime you have that sort of dilemma put in front of you, that I consider that a choice, even if it's like an obvious one, like the food idea said, is it a choice to eat? I consider that a choice.
I don't know, man. That question is too deep for me. I don't know. I guess I'll have to go with what Jamal said. Basically, like choice is like something that you're conscious that you're doing. You know, like it's not like you choose to have a burger, you choose to play video games all day. That sort of way, I guess you're conscious about what you're doing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry, I have to unmute myself twice. But yeah, that's a really good point. The conscious decision where you're aware of what you're doing. You're deciding to go outside or deciding to play a game and stuff like that. Comfort. Are you still here? What's your definition of choice?
He just typed in the stage text that he said, I hear gunshots. What the fuck? So I don't know if he's there or not.
Oh, okay. For his safety, I'll just move him off the panel. But comfort, SOS if you're in danger. Hope you're alright. It might just be fireworks,
I'll
hopefully.
tag him on the chat.
Okay, thanks. Cool. Next person would be Big B. What is your definition of choice?
I think that choice is the ability to pick between options within your possibilities and the knowledge you have. So, like, you could have, let's say, an abundance of junk food, but you are stranded on an island. Then you only have that choice to eat that junk food because there's nothing else. It's still a choice to eat it, but you do not have a variety of options to pick between. Or you could have like a red or and a green apple, and you can pick one of those. You do not know the taste or the calories, for example. Or we can take the apple again and pair it with a cake that you can choose from. Some might like the apple, some might like the cake. All options.
Okay, that's really good. I like the example that you gave about the stranded island, which is kind of similar to Alex's point, where you are limited by what's in front of you. But your conclusion is that it is still a choice because you're deciding to. When you're on a stranded island and you only have fast food with you, you can't necessarily eat healthily. So is it still a choice? But your conclusion is it is a choice because you're aware that you're eating that fast food, but you're limited in what you can do. Pretty cool. Everyone's having mixed ideas of what choice is, but they all sound similar, and seem to be the same. So I want to be able to eventually, after I've asked everyone else, I want to be able to get deeper into if we all have the same common understanding of what we think choice is. I think the only person who has a unique stance would be Alex. Is why does everyone have quite a split belief in their idea of why they think obesity is a choice? So the next person would be Mimi. Please give us your definition of what you think choice means.
Well, I think we're going to disagree with the examples that were stated by Alex and others. I think that our true choice is actually quite limited. We don't realize like how deeply imprisoned we are by what our brain actually wants for us. The like how we're basically slaves to our own dopamine levels and such. So we may have those two options there that may be stated, and we may say that we have the choice to pick one over the other. However, I do not think that's the case. I think a lot of times, people understand what's happening to them, and they are self-aware that there are consequences to a certain thing, and that comes with not just with food, but that also comes with certain like drugs or alcohol and stuff. Like they see that there is the option to go for that. However, it becomes irresistible. And when things are irresistible, it showcases what I stated before. We are slaves to what our brain truly wants for us. Our brain is making all these decisions for us, depending on how much it tracks those dopamine receptors and such. So I think that's what I would say.
Can I
Okay.
add a little something to Mimi's comment?
Yeah, sure.
In what you said, I disagree, but I would change. I agree, but I would change something. Instead of being the brain controlling all of that, I would like to say that we are limited by choices that were made before we were born. So you live in a world that has rules, and you have to follow them. And those, like decisions and stuff about the choices that you can make, were already done by other people hundreds of years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago. But I like the way you think, Mimi. I liked it.
Thank you.
Cool. So everyone still seems to be on the same foot when it comes to choice. But Mimi did bring a new perspective of, which I'll probably will say it's more against what majority of people are saying, because yours is more of, even though you can distinguish between A and B, you could have some chemical or brain or addiction or self-control issues where you might be doing something that you willingly know it's wrong, but you're too addicted or lack self-control to be able to stop yourself from doing it. Is that kind of like...
Whoa. Wait, you just brought up a thing that we could have applied to the rest of the conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of self-control.
Oh, don't
Your
worry. It's one
brain
of the
just
points. Don't
doing,
worry. I've
you
got...
know,
don't worry. I've got
that's a
that
great one.
point. Don't worry, mate. Did I cover that correctly, Mimi, or...
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Cool. Now, Astro, can you enlighten us with what you think choice means?
I agree with Meme. Although I might go off of his agreement based off of what I think, though. But I do agree mostly what Meme says. But I also I think choice is a universal definition, because depending, even though choice can be negative or positive, you're still making a choice to do something, whether it's the actions that you do, whether it's your parents helping you to make a choice, to make the better choice, or if it's referring to an addiction. Like, look, I know this is bad, I know this is something I don't need to do, I know this is unhealthy, but I can't resist the urge to do it, so I make the choice to do something that may hurt me. And so, in short, I don't really have much to say about it, but in short, that's basically what I think choice is. Because choice can be, like we mentioned, AO, it can be in the environment that you're in, the peer pressure also can happen. Maybe even, whatever point of your life you're in can make those choices. Choice, the definition of choice is very universal. So that's sort of my standby. So I stand back now. Yep.
That's actually very interesting. Can I say something really quick about it? So when it comes to like addiction, like think of it as like this. Have you ever like gotten an itch in your body, whether it's on your back or wherever, and you tried resisting the urge to scratch that part? It's kind of like that. That's why it's like when it when it becomes like an urge, or like when it becomes like a choice, it's kind of like willpower goes very far, but that's when it becomes to a when referring to a healthy individual, not someone who is, has some type of disorder or any like problems like that. It's a very, very interesting topic.
So I don't like to like making things complicated for people. Choice is something you want it or you don't want. This is easy. Like if see a cake, you want it or you don't want. You wanna lose weight or you don't want. It's a choice. It will belong to you. That's it. You wanna do it? Yes or no. That's it.
Cool. That's a really good point to raise. Where you're talking, your perspective is
Yeah,
more from the
You, yeah, you have the
straightforward.
choice.
Yeah,
Exactly.
cool.
You
Straightforward.
wanna go that way or you don't wanna go that way. This is the choice.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
So kind of like Shia LaBeouf's definition of choice, like just do it. Yesterday you said
Yeah,
tomorrow.
exactly. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
wanna do it or not. That's it. This is this simple. This is the choice. Nobody will take it from you. You will have to do it. You have to choose yourself.
cool. That's a very good point. And just to piggyback off that, before we go to the final rounds, and where people can just pretty much say why they strongly believe in their stance, and end with whether anything has changed, if they have a better understanding, or if nothing has changed at all for them. The last thing that I want to say is this is just, although I'm meant to be moderating, I'm meant to be, I hope no one knows my stance. But the one thing I am going to say is, in this life, we have so many things that's out of our control. You can't pick where you're born. You can't pick how you look. I have people who always say, "Oh, dude, you're tall. I wish I was tall." And I always speak to them that it's not really that great being tall, because I work a desk job and my legs hurt me all the time because I have to be crouched, I have to sit. Every seat that I've gotten is always awkward for me. So even when you are born in the world or the life that you have, you don't have any control over that. You don't have any control over, you know, like the family you're born into. You don't have any control over your hair color, your skin color, your race, your your gender, You don't have any control over that. But the one thing that you do have control over is your ability to think for yourself, right? So you can be born in, and this is a good analogy that I've given in the past, right? If I was born in a criminal family, my father's a drug dealer, my uncle's a murderer, my granddad was a mobster, right? I grew up in that household, and growing up, I kept committing crimes, right? I was dealing drugs, and then eventually, I started, getting into more serious crimes, and eventually, I got caught by the police. The police catches me, and they say, "We've caught you committing this crime. You're guilty, and we're going to be giving you 25 to life," right? Do I then have the ability to tell the police officer, "I don't know that this was a crime. I didn't know that these things were a crime. This is how I had to survive. I was born in an environment where my father was a criminal, my uncle was a criminal, my granddad was a criminal. Everyone in my family, in my life, was a criminal. And I have come to the state of doing only the things that I know," right? Would the police officer say to me, "I understand you are limited by the choices and decisions you had in your life. Therefore, I am not taking you to jail for the crime you've committed"? Or, jokingly, he says, "Are they going to arrest me?" That's just a thought. You don't have to answer that. That's just a thought that I want everyone to take away with them, just to help bridge an understanding from all perspectives, because I think that analogy potentially covered all the perspectives that were covered in this debate, to ensure that we all have kind of like a stance that we can probably look at, that we thought was completely wrong at the start of the conversation, but we probably have more of a better understanding. So just to give us your last and points before we go to questions would be Alex. So the question would be, has your stance changed from when this conversation started? Do you have a better understanding? If your stance has changed, what has it changed to? And any closing points or arguments or anything you want to address?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I cannot hear you guys. Give me a sec. Okay. Can you guys speak now?
Yep.
Hello.
Sorry. Okay. I can hear you. Thank you, guys. I had a call I had to take. But I know. I heard what you asked. My stance on these issues changed. I do not think so, but I don't think so. No, I'm saying no. But my spectrum became bigger, and this is one of the things I love. Is I'm able to like debating and discussing things, and it's one of the issues that I have. Talking through stuff and analyzing stuff is one of the best things you can do. But now I have different perspectives, and I know more opinions of people, and people's lives are different. It's not all black and white like it is for me sometimes. It's not A or B. But no, my stance did not change, but my perspective has became I think it has broadened. I think that's the word. Became bigger.
Yep, that's the correct word. And I'm happy that you said that. And I'm happy that was your closing argument, because although you still, I'm guessing your stances still strongly agree that obesity is a choice. Although that's still your stance, you've opened up your understanding by discussing with other people in the panel to have a better kind of like outlook on life, knowing that in your situation, like where you live, the country you live, the situation you're in, the body you're in, the vessel that you are, your decision is much straightforward, much binary, much yes and no. Whereas for someone else who has that multi complexity of attributes, that maybe poverty, maybe bad influences and all these other stuff, their decision is so nuanced and so complicated and so hard to make, and in fact so restricted. Like, how can you win a race when you're blindfolded, your legs tied behind your back, and your arms cut off or something like that. One of that analogy. How can you run that race? How can you even win that race? And it's good. I like that you ended on that note. And thanks for joining. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for giving up your time. Also, this goes out to everyone. Thanks for giving up your time today. This was actually a very, very good conversation and great love and respect. I'm probably going to give out cool roles to everyone who joined this, the panelists and the audience that stayed to the end. And you guys can also, all the panelists can ask questions, and all the audience can ask questions after this as well. Just to make things swift, because I don't want this to end up being like a 3 hours thing. Jamal, I think you probably know the question. Just shoot.
Nah, I don't really have a question.
Oh no, no, no. The question I had was: has your stance changed? If
Oh,
so, why and what has changed, and any closing points that you want to have.
no, I don't. My stance hasn't really changed. I've had this. My perspective was already quite broad on the and a lot of challenges people go through when being obese. But I've always stuck to the point that I've always, as hard as a choice may seem, as difficult as predicament people can be in, still make their choice and they as hard as that can sound. But I've learned like a few things in terms of that people grow up in terms of like what goes on in supermarkets and sugars and being addicted to sugars and like what goes into fast food and such. So yeah,
That's good. That's good. I'm also happy you made that point as well. Good reference. And it's good to see that you were respectful. Thank you very much, mate, and thanks for joining as well. Next person, Max. Has your belief system changed? Do you have a better understanding? Do you have anything you want to add as your closing statement?
My opinions haven't really, my stances haven't really changed. No, like I still overall agree that it's at the end of the day, it's still a choice. Was it an easy choice? Depends on the person. You know, if you have a healthy brain, yes, it's a very easy choice. If you have a messed up brain or whatever, no, it's not. At the moment, it's not an easy choice. So, um, if anything, it kind of like helps me empathize with people a little bit more because back then I used to be like, yeah, it's I strongly agree, it's definitely a choice, 100%. But now it's kind of like, yeah, it's not that's black and white.
I don't know why I keep disconnecting. You raise a really good point where you said at the start of this you were very strongly agree. Would you say you're more agree or more middle now, or would you just say it
Um,
didn't change?
I used to be like weeks, maybe months ago, like I was like 100% is so strongly agreed. Now I'm kind of like agree, just agree.
Okay, that's good. That's good. It's nice to see. It's nice to see that this conversation. I'm guessing it's probably not this conversation. It would be my dream if this conversation started helping bridge beliefs between people, where people are changing their beliefs. But I'm guessing it's something that's happened progressively in like just your life and your experience. It's good. It's good because I always have the perspective that no one should strongly hold a point close to their heart, because um, I don't know who. I think there's a song I forgot. Gosh, it was like it was by Damian Marley, one of Bob Marley's children. And I think the song is called Patience. In one of the
Mhm.
lyrics, he says that scientists once all told us that the Earth was flat, and now we think it's round. And he said that if the scientists come back and say that they've had it all wrong from the start, we'll all just start to laugh. Although he sang it way better than I just that I just said. But that's a really good point because it's never really good to have a really strong belief system, because what you think is true, what you think is a fact today, next year can be disproved as something that was just an opinion. And you see this a lot in the fitness industry. How you can review fitness guides that were being given in like the 70s and the 80s, and you'd be like, what's going on? A lot of people have been debunking stuff like the food pyramid that they were given to schools and stuff like that, or the was it the food pie, whatever it was called. So there are all these things that exist, and things are more nuanced than we actually want to come to admit. And it's good that this was done in a very respectful way. For everyone who wanted an argument, I apologize. That's not the type of community that this is. I do really appreciate everyone who took part to making this very friendly, because I was slightly scared, slightly scared to do this, because I know there are people who have very strong belief systems. I also have a strong belief system, but I'm hopeful that I have been a very kind of like a very good, straightforward, middle, unknown moderator. And if I haven't, I do apologize. To
Oh,
the next,
you can I
No, you
just
did really good.
yeah, you did good.
does anyone know what my stance is? If you don't already know, do you know? Could you guess what my stance is?
That you think it is a choice?
Are you saying that based on the interaction here, or are you just saying that in general?
I don't know. I think that would just be your take on it from what the times that I've spoken to you and such. I would
Okay,
just
so that's from
assume
the
that's your
past. Okay,
take.
it's all right. Next person. Maybe beat yourself and get out. Just beat yourself and throw the mic out. I'm sorry. Next person, Big B. Uh,
Yeah, sorry. I don't think my belief have changed much. I have actually just maybe been a little more open now to other people's take on what choice is to them. Yeah, I would say that's maybe that. Like, I'm maybe more open to alternatives to my own belief system, at least.
that's good. That's good. Hearing a different perspective. It's pretty cool. And also updating your own belief system. It's good. Um, Next person who probably should um, burn and throw away his microphone and be banned from the server completely. Astro.
What?
Nah, Mimi.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I don't think my opinion has changed. I think there are still too many variables to, simplify such a complex situation. However, I do, I am thankful that we did have this conversation and that it was civil. And I hope the things I said did help maybe some of the viewers or some of the members within the panel to, kind of understand a bit more on the on the situations that we have with our nutrition and our health. But yeah, to everyone in the panel, thank you for providing your opinions and endorsing in this conversation.
Can I jump in just real quick?
Yeah,
I
sure.
actually have something I want to say. I think we should do something talking about knowledge of dieting and talk a lot more about nutrition and how that works. That would be a great topic.
Yeah, I agree on this.
Sorry, could you repeat everything you said? I apologize. I had something going on inside.
Yeah, no worries. I just said that we should have another talk on nutrition and dieting because that is a whole science on its own, and I
Ooh.
think it kind of relates to obesity, and like some actual takes on what you can do if you are overweight or underweight or
Okay.
want to change your composition.
So a sequel to the main event. That's cool. That is my plan eventually. For everyone who's kind of like who has different opinions of like, oh my gosh, it's not this, it's not that. This is the first time ever we're doing this, right? And this idea only came to my head on Friday. Um, and majority of the people who potentially were showing up didn't show up. Some really great last minute changes, and I do appreciate everyone who's joined. So we'll be better organized. We will have much deeper, disagreements. But I want to do it steadily because, firstly, I've been in this server long enough, and I've been on Discord long enough to know that a simple argument as is obesity a choice can lead to you losing members, right? So I don't want a case where there's infighting, and I wanted it to be something that's peaceful. And I appreciate that you said that, Big B, because we can be doing more versions in different topics that's fitness and health related, because I've learned quite a lot from this. I'm not going to say if my opinion has changed or not, but I think I can argue for both sides if I was in a debate, which is a really good point. And as someone who does like hearing the sound of his own voice, which I probably should stop talking and move on to Astro. Astro, has your stance changed? Has your point changed? If so, why? If not, why? And do you have any additional information you want to add? Okay, he DM'd me, said he's making lunch at the moment, so we'll have to skip him. So Tokyo, has your stance changed? If so, why? If not, why? And any other additional points that you want to make?
No, it didn't really change because, yeah, it's a choice. And an overweight person, he has the choice, or she, to change himself and start just to work on it. So it will be always a choice.
Okay, that's good. You still stick to your stance. Nothing has changed. You have
Yes, exactly.
you have an on.
And when you say it's a choice, it's a hope for them, like someone who just want to work on it. And when you tell him, no, it's not a choice, you're not giving him a hope.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yep, when it's a choice, that means, yeah, you can work on it. If you tell him, no, it's not a choice, that means you cannot work on it. And the truth is, you can work on it. You can start working on it.
That's a cool perspective that I don't think we've covered yet. So your stance,
Yep.
which makes sense because of what you said for what your definition of what choice is, your stance is that when you tell people it's not a
It's a
choice,
choice. Yeah.
you
That means
remove
it's not possible. Yeah.
you remove the ability for them to know the probability of it being possible to fix.
Exactly.
So for
Yes.
example, if
Yes.
someone was to tell me that it's happened quite a lot. Like, you would never be as fast as you want to be. You would never be able to run in varsity or whatever. Because when I was growing up, when I was 12, I was actually very short. Or you'd never be able to do a certain course and stuff like that. Like, you're the only one in the bullies are bullies, right? So what you're saying is that when you say it is not a choice, what you're then doing is feeding into that person's mind and reaffirming
Exactly.
that belief that they are like, I'm already obese. It's not a choice. It's not my fault. I can't do anything about it. That's a very good
Exactly.
perspective.
Can I add something? Just an example to that.
Yeah, sure.
You can see that in the military
Mhm.
when they do those like boot camps, like for days and days, where you just constantly awake. They will tell you like, let's say that you start on a Monday. They'll be like, on Friday, you're all gonna be fucked. You're all gonna be tired. You're all gonna be feel like shit. And when Friday comes, it's just as true as rain. Why? Because they put that in your mind at the start, and so you'll be thinking of Friday, and you'll be thinking that, and you'll be having that thought, and they will like transform your way of thinking or your mind, and then that's what it is. Like they'll tell you no, and it's no, and you believe that it's no without even trying or without even questioning it. So
Well,
yeah.
well, okay. Well, the thing with that is though that people. So let's take another example, such as depression, right? Like people don't. I know this is a different case. I know depression is different to obesity, but we'll just do this, for simpler reasons. So let's say that you develop depression, okay, and that wasn't your choice, okay. However, even though it wasn't your choice, you can still get out of that, out of that issue by seeking therapy, seeking medication, things like that. It's the same thing with a car accident. It wasn't your choice, but that doesn't mean that we're instigating that you cannot get help, that you cannot get the necessary medical assistance that you require. No one's saying that. We're not trying to put down people who are obese. We are just trying to state that some mental health issues get in the way of you being able to live a healthy life, and it wasn't your choice. However, we are here to help you. We can start making the choices to improve your life, and to seek the treatment that you need.
Okay, that's a very good counterpoint. So your counterpoint is, piggybacking off the point of saying it is a choice removes people's ability to want to strive for self improvement. But what you're saying is that people shouldn't just say blanket statements. They should have more of a follow up to it. It's like obesity isn't your choice in the same way a car accident wasn't your choice. But we have the facilities and the resources and the information to help you start making the correct decisions. It is a good counterpoint. I can see some holes in that because, like you did say, depression and eating and car accident and eating are fairly different. But it is still a good point because the analogy that you've given is something that I think everyone should be practicing when they do give specific points, rather than giving it's just straightforward blanket statements. It's like obesity is a choice, and then you don't expand on it. Like, even if you think it isn't a choice, or even if you think it is a choice, just say that obesity isn't a choice, but you do have the ability to do X, Y, and Z. Or when you say that obesity is a choice, and because it's a choice, you have the ability to do X, Y, and Z. So it's a fairly kind of like, you know deeper dive in how people perceive these things. But I do like that being a good conclusion. Astro, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How far into the conversation did you hear?
I just got back, so.
Okay, perfect. I wish I was also listening myself. I'm just kidding. I was listening. So we were talking about, a good point was raised by Tokyo, where she said that if you said that obesity is not a choice, what you're inherently doing is you are removing the ability for someone who is obese or who is going through, the ringer, that they don't have the ability for self improvement because it's not the choice. It's not their fault that the way they are. They can't do anything about it. But Memey said right after, as his counterpoint was, things like depression, car accidents, and stuff like that aren't your choice. You don't actively want to go into a car accident, but you can still, work towards like certain plans and certain, steps to help you improve.
Yeah.
So overall, I think it's been a great conversation. I just want you to expand on if you think your opinion has changed. If so, why? If not, why? And if you have anything additional to say, or if you want to jump into that discussion that was raised.
I think my stance still stands because I'm still in the middle, because this choice of obesity can be sensitive in various ways. Because for one, obesity, being obese can lead to things of all the factors that Meme stated in the beginning of this talk. And I'm saying why I'm in the middle is because I've been through those situations, not specifically being obese, but I've been in areas of my life where it's the darkest times of my life. And so I can understand why people, get to this point at which they just try to find ways that are non-functional to comfort themselves through the hard times that they're going through. At the same time, although it's not your, I agree, and I agree that it can be not your fault to be in this to get yourself into the position in which you are obese, or in general get yourself in the position of making these bad choices, because it stems from how you're raised, it stems from all these other factors. But at the same time, you have the choice to start the improvement factor. You have the choice to go get help. You have the choice to make a better person out of yourself, and change it, even it means if you need help to make those decisions. And so I guess that's where I stand right now. So I stand back.
Perfect. So yours is, you are in the middle, and you
Yeah.
are in the middle because of your, personal experience, which makes you more empathetic to anyone who's going through the difficulties, because you still kind of believe it's a choice, but it's going to be a very difficult choice, sometimes even an impossible choice to make. It's almost like someone saying, there's one of those weird questions that, I don't know, if you hang around with your mate, they'll say something silly as, would you, would you kill your best friend to save your mom, or something like that. It's
Right.
still a choice, but it's a very impossible choice to make. So you can empathize with the person who, either decides to not kill the best friend and their mom dies, or kill the best friend and wait, and the mom survives. I was getting lost in my own my own analogy. But yeah, that's really good. Once again, I just want to say thank you to everyone who stayed this long. It is now been 2 hours, and for everyone who was also in the pre setup for this, it's probably been 2 hours 30 minutes, or 2 hours, maybe 3 hours now for you guys, and I do appreciate it. And we're going to do this more frequently. So anyone who's is an audience that potentially wants to be in a panel, you're welcome to message me suggestions of suggestions of future topics that we can cover, and what stance you have, and your availability, because one key thing is availability. I always like to pick like Saturdays, like around this time, because I think people are available this time, but people are never available. But that's why I'm very appreciative to everyone who's joined. So cool. Now it's the fun time. Fun part. I mean, it's time for questions. I want to keep this chill and organized, because I don't know if I invite someone and they just end up insulting the panelists. So I'll do questions one at a time. So everyone who's in the audience, and if you're in the panel, if you have any questions you want to ask, feel free. It's a free for all now. If you're in the audience, raise your hand. If you don't know how to, it's gonna be at the bottom of your screen where it's that hand symbol. Raise your hand if you want to come up and ask questions to anyone in the panelist or just in general. I can see a few people. Someone's okay. Someone raised their hand and unraised it. It's glitching me out. Sorry. Ashton. Hello, Ashton. Introduce yourself. Feel free to ask your question.
What am I doing here again? I'm sorry, I don't remember. Oh wait, okay. Hello, my name is Ashton. Uh, I am. How do I introduce myself? Sorry, excuse me. I don't know what to say.
No
I am.
worries.
I am. I am 13 years old, and uh, I forgot the question. What was the question again?
I don't know. So you raised your hand. So
I'm sorry, I forgot the question. I came back.
no worries. You raised your hand. So this part is where the audience get to ask questions. So do you have a question in mind, or a question you want to ask?
Fuck, I forgot the question that I had in mind. I've been here a bit long, so I think I had the question, but I've forgotten it.
No worries, mate. That's
Wait.
understandable. It has been 2 hours. 2 hours plus. I'll add
I
you back in.
enjoyed I
Okay.
enjoyed it though.
Yeah, we can do feedback. Give your general feedback on your experience. Anything you potentially feel like we should improve, or anything that you just really liked.
Thing is, like, I never really joined like a community or a Discord server like this, so yeah, I didn't notice or haven't gone into it. So when I joined this, it felt like a new experience. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
It's all right, dude. This is not an ambush. It's more of a fun kind of like end of the long podcast. Thanks for joining. You will get the custom role. I'll have to decide on the name. Let me take a screenshot of everyone who's here. Because I 1000% will forget. I'll try and sort it out.
You're
sometime
not
this
allowed
week.
to take screenshots of me.
I'm not.
I do not consent.
Dude, you know what just happened? My screen, like I didn't even have a choice. My screen just took that. It took it itself. Like I didn't have the choice. I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
Sure.
So yeah.
Should we get back on the choice
All right.
thing again?
Thank you, Ashton. I'll just add you back to the member audience. To audience. Cool. J Dinks. There were like 10 people at the hand raised, but most people probably went to sleep and have given up. Anybody else with questions? J Dinks, are you joining? Your hand was raised. Have you fallen asleep? Yeah, okay. So, okay, that's a good point the King raised. For anyone who can't speak at the moment, maybe it's late for you, maybe you don't have a mic, or maybe any additional reasons, post your questions in the stage text channel and I will ask those questions.
Sorry, could you repeat that? Yeah.
I said anyone who anyone who can't come and ask questions, the audience, they can post their question in the stage text channel, and then we'll just ask it here. Ask it to all of the panelists. So this looks like a good question.
Use case and question. Points.
Can someone be naturally predisposed to be obese / high body fat? Why or why not?
Yes.
That's for everyone on the panel. It's a free-for-all, so if you have anything you want to say concerning that question, feel free to ask.
Yeah, I mean, some people... Wait, did you say we can answer it?
Yeah,
My brain is dying.
Okay. Yeah, I can tell.
Oh fuck. Yeah, so some people are just born with there are definitely like nutrition deficiencies. There are faster metabolisms, actual faster metabolisms, not just excuses that most people use when they eat too much or they eat too little. So those types of things do come into effect. And yeah, some people just have genetic dispositions which can make it harder for them to absorb the nutrients and the energy from certain foods during the processes. So yeah, that would be the simple answer.
I had a
Can I
friend.
add health conditions as well? Some health conditions can store fat more.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. I had a friend
Yeah, some health
back when I was in
conditions.
high school where she was like obese, and it was derived of like I think maybe a thyroid problem. Not sure.
That's a point that's always raised. Yeah.
Something that she had, I just can't remember. It was over 10 years. She had a problem and she was taking medication, and due to
Hormones
that,
problem?
no. It was some. It
Thyroid.
was, yeah, I think it was
It's
a
a
thyroid.
it's that would be the right one. Yeah.
And she was just like that, and she had really like self-esteem, and I didn't think about it now, but now it's so precious that she opened up to me and she said that. And now that I'm just coming to think about it, like, oof, she's more than a warrior than me, that's for sure, or than I was. But yeah.
Yeah, but that can be cured, but it needs time.
No.
So she needs.
Her problem didn't have a cure.
Oh,
well, yeah, I mean, with that type of situation, I do understand that there are going to be those medical issues. However, I think at the same time, a lot of people do make a lot of excuses in those regards. When we're talking about weight and weight gain, weight loss, I think a lot of people start using excuses such as, oh, they have a thyroid issue, or oh, they have this. Like, no, you're just fat and you cannot control yourself.
Wow,
and
Memey,
it's as simple
relax.
as that.
Memey gamer,
sorry.
why are you calling me
Sorry,
fat?
sorry.
Memey,
Sorry,
do you
I'm
understand
trying
that I am the owner of Effective Fitness? Why are you calling me fat?
Whoa.
You have
Okay,
gone too far, young man.
I apologize.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I will keep the filter on.
I am old enough to be your uncle. Not old enough for your father, but old enough to be your uncle.
Oh, that's like, wait, how old are you? Like 20,
25.
25?
Yeah.
Christ, okay.
He and
So
I are
old
the
enough.
same. Yeah, he and I are the same age.
Yeah. So old enough to be your uncle. Not your father.
Yeah, I can be your
Yes.
second uncle, Mimi. How about some apples?
Oh, God.
I'm old enough to be your big brother, Ayo.
Oh crap! Everyone's older
Wait,
than me.
how old are you, Alex?
I'm 26.
Oh, okay, I thought he was about to say 30. I was like, wait, what?
No.
I swear I'm the youngest one here,
No,
man.
I
Jesus.
look, dude. You guys are like, oh, I'm young and stuff. The other guy, Ashton, said he was like 13, and in my mind, when he said that, I was like, bro, these 13-year-olds be sounding like they're 20,
Yeah,
20
man.
something.
It's
What
remember,
the
it's
hell?
what they put in their food. I'm not gonna lie, cause
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm
my nephew's
26, sound like
voice.
I'm 13.
Yeah, my nephew's
What
voice
the
is like
hell?
really deep as well. Is either because he's going through puberty. Oh no, my cousin's voice is really deep, not my nephew's. Is either because he's going through puberty, or it's something he's eating because his older brother is the same age
It's
as me.
cereal, bro. It's this
Yeah,
new
it's the
cereal
milk.
they
It's
got.
the milk.
It's
It
the
has to
milk.
be. But yeah, yeah. Thanks for that point, Mimi. After you just fat shamed all of us. Does anybody else? Actually, I think someone mentioned me. Maybe they have a question. Does anybody else have a question? Can we? Let's see. Can you? What's this one? Can you be healthy and obese at the same time? Okay, that's a good question asked by Not Here. Not Here is asking, can you be healthy and obese at the same time?
No.
Can you describe healthy? What is healthy to you?
He means they will face no issue with their health. Actually, there is the inner fat. When you're overweight, it will be high as well, and it will cause sugar blood. It will be cause heart disease. So the answer shortly is no.
Yeah, I don't think there's a positive answer to that as well.
There's a lot of talk about like sumo people that are eating massive amounts of food and they are exercising all day and such, and they were in some studies and they seem to be relatively healthy, but that have sadly been debunked because
Yeah.
yeah.
Heart disease, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of them, yeah, because like you're literally like one of the most easiest things to know how obesity and such is unhealthy is just by looking at their physiques. You know, they have excess fat. That's what being overweight is, or being obese is. You know, it is. It's excess fat, which also
It's not
causes
excess,
extra
but
stress
muscle,
on your it causes extra stress on your knee joints. Overweight people have
I'm not
higher
used to.
visceral fats, which means the fats, the organs are going to have more somatic fats, and that is going to make it harder for them for their organs to work and such. It's simple, it's simple nutrition. Obese people cannot be healthy at all.
Agreed.
Cool. That's a really good point. I'm actually happy that question was asked because someone did ask me this question not too long ago. Is it, can someone, but they didn't say obese, it says someone who's fat. Can someone who's fat be healthy? And I had to think about it for a while, and then eventually I was like, when I've bulked, like during lockdown, the biggest I've gotten was pretty much fat. But it's not fat because I also have muscle. But technically, it's still fat. But I was still very healthy. I was healthier than the majority of the people who were getting their fifth or sixth jab. That's just a joke. Everyone get vaccinated. Um, so it is something that I did think about when it came to people who were fat, right? But the obesity stuff and, the heart disease and diabetes and all these other stuff and, sumo wrestlers and stuff like that, I think it's a good question, but I think the panel unanimously, not me, so if you want to cancel anyone, cancel them, not me. The panel unanimously pretty much think that you can't be healthy and obese at the same time. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's literally
obese,
you would be going against just basic levels of nutrition and health sites, and as I stated, you are literally carrying excess weight, which will cause extra stress on your organs and your joints.
So everyone who's rewatching this podcast, the user's name is Memey Gamer. He was the one who was previously fat shaming everyone. So if you want to cancel everyone,
Uh,
I do not condone anything he said. The entire team, I'm just kidding. Cool.
There's a
So
little something to like if we take it down a notch and just say, can you be healthy and fat at the same time? Like having BMI just slightly above 25. Is that possible, you think?
are
could you
you
repeat that
asking?
question? Because someone was just memeing me because I created the channel because I'm
Oh, yeah.
mature. I was thinking past podcast, but people, I always forget people are immature. Like I tried to abbreviate it to make it small, but
Yeah, like just like you said, you've been on a bulk before. I think plenty of people have been on a bulk or
yeah,
at some point in their life have had excess fat storages. So the question is like, same question, can you be healthy and slightly fat at the same time? And I think you can. I think you can have a BMI of 26, 27 even, and still be a healthy individual.
I mean, I would, uh, yeah, I would agree with that. You know, because as you stated, you know, bulks and such are, you know, are going to give you excess fat storage, but and also, you know, to kind of steer away from just specifically health science, you know, you're bulking in order to maintain more muscle, and you know, so technically, I think it's okay. You know, you can be healthy in that sense, but there's a reason why we stop. You know, there's a reason why we stop the bulk before, you know, getting to those kind of upper limits, because you know it will not only impact your physical health, but it will also impact your mental health. You know, how you look at yourself and such. So yeah.
that's cool. That's good.
And
Sorry
and
to
like
cut you off.
there's a big difference between having a BMI of let's say 27 and being inactive, and having the same and being very active. Like there's also something there.
Well, I do. That's interesting. I do agree with that. Yes, because you know, if you're a very active person, let's say that you are a sprinter and that you have a BMI of 27, you know, your muscles, your heart muscles and such are going to be way stronger than those of someone who is sedentary. So yeah.
Cool. We've got a couple more questions. Just so I can let everyone leave. Everyone, if you do have a question, this is the last call of questions. Um, and then after this, everyone is welcome to go to the voice chat channels. I've taken a screenshot of everyone who joined. I love you all for joining. You get a free roll. You're welcome to discuss anything further. Please remember to be respectful. I am so happy that this turned out respectfully. And fun fact for everyone who's been in the panel, we had a peak of around 60 people who joined. Just think about that. We barely have 60 people talking in the voice chat at the same time. So you guys are high key fitness sub genre in Discord famous. So tell your parents, tell your wives, tell your kids, AO made you famous. So the last few questions would be, um, I got pinged with a few, but I have lost the chat. Okay, is obesity a disease? Oof. Someone's asking dangerous questions. What do you guys think? Is
It can
obesity a
be
disease?
cured. It's a disease, but it can be cured. That's my opinion about it.
Okay.
Yes, by medical standards, obesity is a disease.
Okay.
I concur with Meme.
Good. So that's good. We all have some fair grounds to agree on. And then the next one was, um, when are you considered fat? Considering a lot of BMIs are mostly BS. That's a good one, because would you consider a pro bodybuilder fat because their BMIs are always off?
Can I let me
No.
interrupt? Let me interrupt you guys. Sorry.
No worries.
Just wanted to say goodbye and thanks everyone for discussing and
Oh,
allowing me
Alex.
to give my opinion. I gotta go, so I don't want to like rush it and interrupt
No, it's
in
all right,
the
mate.
near future. So
It's all right, mate. Happy
Thank
to
you
have
guys.
you.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
That's
Have a
great.
nice one, man.
See you,
Take
dude.
care.
Sleep.
Enjoy
Yeah,
talking with
take
you.
care.
Sleep well. Bye bye. Um.
Right. I don't mind taking that. Are you considered? When are you considered fat? I think there's two definitions. Like one is the BMI definition of being fat, but also there's a mirror. Do you consider yourself, or do others consider you fat? That is also, I think, very important.
Well, okay, well, so I think first of all we have to kind of understand what the BMI is. So the BMI is a universal chart or calculations is explaining the kind of. Okay, I need to click away from chat every time I enter chat.
I
Like
get
I just
lost as well.
cannot. Yeah, I cannot focus at all
Yeah.
as to what I'm saying. So yeah, as I was saying, BMI is it's a universal calculation to discover whether or not you're healthy. However, BMI is just it's not just the only measurement that you should use in order to answer whether you're healthy or not. And as I stated before in the podcast in our PT course, we were told that you're supposed to use multiple tools. So instead of just using BMI as a way to determine health, you use other types of tests. I don't think a I don't think a bodybuilder is healthy because, well, bodybuilding is not a healthy sport at all. It's very unhealthy, and the bodybuilders who do go on stage are quite unhealthy for that very reason because they go out of the BMI, which is which is not good at all. There's a reason why we have that scale because even if you don't have like, let's say that you're 120 kilos of lean muscle mass. That's not good. Like, you look aesthetically good. However, that's not healthy at all. It's the same thing as being fat. It's the same thing as being obese. If you are 120 kilos of muscle versus 120 kilos of fat, like it's not going to, the issues and the concerns are going to be pretty much the same. You'll have the same amount of stress on your body, and it will cause the same amount of issues. So yeah.
Okay, that's a very good point to raise. Like, you're looking at it from the health perspective. That the BMI is there to kind of like help us estimate or have an idea of a general sense of if someone is healthy. So rather than perceiving bodybuilders as, they're not fat, obviously, especially professional bodybuilders, but are they actually healthy? Which is a good point because we, in recent times, we have unfortunately been hearing, bad news of a few bodybuilders that have, passed away, especially this year and last year during the pandemic, which is very tragic. Especially when you grow up looking up to these guys, and then you get what I like to say red pilled into reality. The Matrix reference. Sucks that Alex has left, and then you realize that these guys are technically ruining their future health for what they're doing. So it's a good point. It's a very 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 good point. I'm guessing we're all getting tired. Does anybody else have any questions? Although I did say that was the last call for questions, but everyone's been great. The audience has been great. The chat has been great. The panelists have been great. And of course, I have been amazing. Just kidding. When you take both pills at once, what happens? Oh, you mean the blue? It's. I don't know if you guys have. It's if you read One Piece or if you watched One Piece.
Yeah, I heard about the blue and red pills and black pills and those type of
Okay,
thing, Bob.
so it's a bit like One Piece. It's whichever you bite first. Or in One Piece, if you have both at the same time, yeah, with devil fruits, you die. Yeah, with One Piece, if you eat two devil fruits, unless you're Marshall D. Teach, you die. For anyone who's rewatching this, I'm talking to Sleepy Fawn, who was asking a question, just so anyone who already knows that I'm obsessed with One Piece doesn't think that I'm just randomly having a One Piece rant to myself. That's cool. That's cool. This is a great way to conclude it. Everyone's happy. There's still jokes. No one's laughing at my jokes. So anyone who's rewatching it, I know you are laughing. I'm doing this for the audience and not the panelists, for the audience.
Put in laugh tracks.
Just I am going to try and do two things. I am going to put out the full unedited version on the Effective Fitness YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the Effective Fitness YouTube. Myself and your very best designer in Discord, known as Tokyo, I've been putting a lot of work into. No worries. I've been putting a lot of work into enhancing effective fitness. Anyone who gets that double pun reference, who knows that this was previously called enhanced fitness. Then I realized what enhanced meant, and I had to change it. Enhancing effective fitness in general. So it's literally just called effective fitness on Discord. Not on Discord, on YouTube. Effective fitness. So it's just YouTube / effective fitness. And yeah, just make sure to subscribe, and also make sure to subscribe to our community channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the full version on the community channel, the unedited version, where anyone can listen to it from the start to the end on the community channel. And I'm going to eventually break down and edit just key points, where people did have strong points and people were talking at the same time. Hopefully the audio quality is good. If it's not, I apologize. It's the first time, and I'll use that as feedback for improvements. And for anyone who's asking for our socials, I think there is a command for socials. Don't worry, I've not yet gotten the Effective Fitness Instagram name, but that's the link to all of our socials. Or you can't watch it. The king.
No,
Why
he's
can't you
saying
watch it?
because he's got 69 views, so if he watches it, it would be 70.
How are people this immature? This is thank God for Mimi. Thank God for. I didn't even notice. I thought it was a copyright issue, because you always have that even on shorts, which make no sense, because you're literally using less than 30 seconds of a song, and you still get hit with copyright strike. YouTube is just a mess of a
Yeah.
platform. But once again, thank you everyone. Thank you to those who's listening. Appreciate it, and that's the end. And I'm gonna stop recording. 1, 2, 3.